What I'm going to do is take you through the process of scanning an object and bringing it into reality capture and creating a mesh from that object. So first thing I'm going to do is go to my Google Photos, and possibly they have updated since let's see, not yet. So I'm uploading photos right now from my phone. Okay, so it's updating at the moment. Here we go. We're gonna reconstruct this cooler here today. So once all these images upload, then I'll download them. So I like to take these with my phone and then upload them to my Google Photos account, and I'll take these, and I've got like a template set up. So I've got all these folders already created, and I like to group things by folders. So I have one called raw images, and I will I group them by project. So I'm going to bring in, or by program actually, sorry. So all these are different programs that I will use during a process of creating a 3D model. So I'm going to find this cooler. This is the last cooler shot that I want. So I'm going to select, go down and select all of these here. All right, so we've got all of these cooler shots, and I'm going to hold Shift D, and that downloads everything from my Google Photos drive. Once this downloads, I'm going to drag it and extract it into my project folder. All right, so we got our folders. We're going to do WinZip, unzip here. And while that's unzipping, I'm going to open up reality capture. I'm going to take all these photos that I have now, and I think they're all decent. I'm going to drag them into the images section here. Now I've got 53 images, and I'm going to do align images. Okay, so now we have the images of this scan here. Now it looks like I've got a component here, 53 cams of 53. So this should be like every image matched up. So we will see how well it did when we do a calculate model. So it'll calculate normal quality here. All right, so now we have our model here recreated. You can see it did a pretty decent job. There's some rippling and stuff like that in the model itself, but overall pretty good. So one thing I just want to do is actually crop this down quite a bit. Reconstruction, I'm going to set the ground plane. I'm going to like reposition this thing so it's more flat. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to. That's good enough, and then we'll do reconstruction region, and I'll just make sure this goes above and below the model here. I don't want to cut it off too. All right, so we're back with our high detailed model here looks pretty decent. Obviously have to do some cleanup in some areas, but let's take this model and we'll look at, first of all, we'll look at the smoothing tool and see if we smooth this model, see if this helps us at all. I'm not too familiar with the smoothing tool and what this can actually do for us, but we'll see if it does anything. So maybe a little bit. Now I want to simplify this model. This model is currently, let's take a look here, 10 million triangles. So what we want to do is I'm going to reduce this model, simplify it, and make it, oops, closed the wrong one. All right, and we'll make this 2 million triangles. So we'll do simplify here, and yes, we want to do that. It'll run through this process, take a little bit of time, and I'll get back to you. All right, so we got a simplified model. Now you can see model number 4 is 2 million triangles. That's what we're looking at here. Now we want to apply the texture now that we've simplified this. So we're going to texture this model. And this is where I always just find that it's amazing because you get so much detail out of this texture. And the texture, in my opinion, is what makes the model. There's a lot of other like scanning apps and things, but the texture, they just can't get quite that texture that you want for a 3D model to have that realistic look to it. And reality capture seems to be the one that gets the closest, in my opinion. All right, look at that. Look at our cooler. Look how nice it is. Isn't that cool? All right, so we have this model here. Looks fine. I'm gonna have to clean all this stuff up here. So what we want to do is take this and export this out to a software that I like better than this for cleaning up. So it's a free software called Mesh Mixer. So I want to actually go through the process of, you know what, let me save this model first. We'll do save as, we'll put it inside our cooler, reality capture, and I'll just call it reality capture, save that. It's usually fast, and then we'll do model. This is exporting our model, and I'm going to call this, put it in a new folder called export. We'll call it cooler underscore 2M for 2 million triangles. Okay, you can see here that it's going to cost $1.91 to do these 164 credits based on the inputs, based on the photography that I used to create this model. So I'm going to complete this, and then we'll start downloading the model. All right, so we got the export model screen here. We'll do OK and start to download this. All right, so we'll do file, save. Now we can close this, and we will open up Mesh Mixer. Go to here, and we'll do import, and we will go to cooler, reality capture, export, and this cooler 2M, say open. All right, so we got our cooler here. What I want to do is erase out all this stuff down here on the bottom and clean up a lot of this other stuff. So, and smooth out all these. So if you press W, you'll pull up the wireframe of this, and I'm going to go to selection and just go in and start erasing out all this extra information here. And if you mess up and you go over something like that, you can hold shift and just deselect it there, and it will it'll deselect that. So then you can continue selecting stuff, and I'm just going to go around the model, clean it all up, and get back to you when I'm done. Hit delete to erase. Okay, so now that we have this done, I'm going to clear selection, go to edit, and make solid. And if this doesn't look like it is the right polygon amount for this model, then I'll increase it. But knowing how the textures are going to be added to this, I think I might just accept this and do some smoothing on this model. So we'll accept it, and then I'll go to sculpt, and I'll choose this robust smoothing. I'll adjust my size to something like 40, probably like that, and then just go in here and do some smoothing out of this mesh just to clean it up a bit. I don't want to remove too much detail, but I do want to smooth out some of this that I know doesn't really, some of these bumps don't really exist. I may turn down the strength here to make it a little bit less strong. Turn the strength way down here to like a 4. Just do some light touches to this. I don't want to mess it up by over smoothing it. All right, I think that'll do it there. Seems smooth enough. It still has a little bit of detail in the model itself. I know that I think I want to recess this, give a little bit of definition there. So I'm gonna change this brush to inflate. I'm gonna turn the size way down here. Something like this. I'm gonna hold control, kind of just add some detail back in there. You can hold shift and smooth. You can see it's going back a little bit. Maybe I want to change the strength up a little bit, and just keep going between control and shift to smooth, if smooth is your secondary tool, because if you go too long with deflating, you'll start to get some overlap of the mesh, and it'll kind of be all messy and stuff. So I actually want to make this a little bit 25. This may be too strong, I don't know, we'll see. Just go ahead and make a bold move here and push that back. See how it starts to overlap, and then you can just smooth that out. So just keep smooth it out. Here I think I want to inflate this a little bit, so we'll just inflate that some and then smooth it. Inflate, smooth it. I'm going to inflate this too. And then smooth it out. See, this is real skinny right here. So I'm just going to smooth it, inflate, and then smooth it out a bit. I'll probably have to do some texture cleanup here. I'll do control, get that, and then smooth it. Obviously my smooth is a little strong at this moment. Just want to get that shape for that handle there. And then definitely want this to, there's that push back. Smooth it out, push it back, smooth it out. Just keep kind of messing with it till you get it the way you want it. That may be fine right there. All right. That looks pretty decent. Let's see if I need to maybe add a little bit of definition here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So sometimes I will actually go in here and do an edit and make solid again. And just look at everything see how it's looking. I think it looks pretty darn good. I'm gonna, of course, reapply the materials, but we'll do accept this. So now we have this model here in our object browser. This is the one we want. We can take this one and delete that one, and then this is the original one. You can see how big of a difference we've got on that original one. So we'll take this one and delete that. Also, so now this is our final like low poly kind of mesh here. I'm just gonna clean this real quick. That's fine. That'll be okay. All right, we'll do all right, so we got our mesh here. I'm gonna take this one and delete it. And we've got this one. We'll do file. Go ahead and save it under the mesh mixer file. We'll just call it cooler, and then we'll do file, export, and under mesh mixer we'll do cooler underscore LP for low poly. We'll save that. Now we're done with that. So if you go to Blender, I'm going to go to my template and rename this cooler. Open that. Then we'll go File, Import, OBJ, and we'll go to our cooler reality capture. We'll go to Export, and our 2 million triangle one. We'll import that. Okay, so we have this one in here now. You can see if we turn the texture on, we got the textures there. So we're gonna go File and import OBJ, and we're gonna bring in our one from Mesh Mixer, and we'll do the LP. Import that. It should come exactly in the same place. You don't want to move these things. So we go to here, and we're going to take the cooler low poly and do a Shift D to duplicate, then escape. And let me turn on sequencer keys so you can see screencast keys. All right, so now you should be able to see what I'm actually doing here. I duplicated. I'm going to rename this one Cage, and then we will turn off temporarily the low poly, and I'll go here and in Cage, press Tab, go into this, and do Alt S to scale everything by the normals. We'll scale up until we cover pretty much the whole model. Basically, we're hiding the high poly model behind this big marshmallowy cage here. So we'll do tab out of that, and we'll go to the high res model, the 2 million poly. Select that one. Go to this render tab. Change it from EV to cycles. That'll allow you to bring up Simple Bake. This is a plugin that I have, and first run a test, and we'll change bake selected object to target. The target is the low poly. The cage is called cage. We'll do test, export bakes. We want to make sure we save that image, low disk space, and we'll do a new UV map, and we will call this test. And we will copy and apply that, and it looks like we're good. So we'll do bake PBR maps. Now it gives you very little feedback, so the only way you can tell it's actually kind of working is go look at this folder, and then when you come back, you'll see your little donut here. Don't click or mess with anything until that's done. It'll create a folder called simple bakes _ and then you can see your diffuse map here. Now this is really low res, so what I'm going to do is go back here and hide the cage, and now you can see we've got our low res mesh here. Looks fantastic, but not good enough, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go back, turn all this back on. We're going to go back to our cooler 2 million triangle mesh here, and we're going to do this thing again, but this time we're going to do diffuse, and we're going to change it to a 4K texture. So keep all this stuff the same. This we're going to rename 4K because I like to name based on the texture resolution. We'll do bake PBR maps, and we'll come back here and watch our progress to see when this file actually gets made. Usually takes a little bit longer since it's 4K. When you create one using the normal maps, it even takes a lot longer. But what I've noticed is I don't really turn the normals on when I'm doing this, because all those like imperfections of the 3D scan come through in the normal map and add a lot of noise to the model. So I just basically bake the diffuse map and worry about the other stuff later. So here we go. We got our 4K texture. We open this up and you can see it's, you know, pretty decent. There's some weird stuff there. Let's see how it looks on the actual model itself. So this created a new model. We'll turn off the cage and we'll look at this cooler baked here. You can see it seems a little like, oh, there's a little error right there, a little error there. Some little problem areas all around, but in general looks okay. I'm going to go to shading and select this, and let's just turn the roughness up to like 0.8. So we've got this igloo model we created here. Now you can see this is some messiness here. The model looks pretty good from a distance, but there are some problems. If we go to the UV editing, and we'll just select it all. Just want to make sure first of all that there's no like overlapping textures. That's where you get problems when you're actually trying to what you call it, see all these little tiny stuff in the UV map. This is not ideal, obviously. So I'm gonna go and just gonna kind of like clean some of the UV stuff up. I'm gonna go into line mode here, and I'm just gonna like maybe select here and just try to go like maybe up to here, and we'll add a seam. We'll mark a seam there, and let's just go underneath this whole thing all the way to this backside, and we'll mark a seam and maybe continue up to this point here and mark a seam. Then we'll go from here, we'll go around, maybe trying to keep in this zone here. Oh, see, we don't want to do that. I want to too far. Let's see, we'll go here. Just gonna go to here, and then I'll go there. I'm gonna not choose that one. We'll go do mark seam. We'll go from here, and then we'll connect back up to here. Do mark seam. Okay, so now we got basically that. I could maybe I'll just go in here and just so this kind of maybe unwraps a little bit better. I'll go underneath here and around. So now that'll unwrap a little bit better. All right, so we got these seams going around this thing. So let's go back to here. So now I'm going to basically like rebake this onto this new one here, but I'm going to maintain the UV. So we'll go here, and this is going to be our new baked. We'll do 4K again, and this time instead of new view, we're going to restore active at the end. And let's see, we're going to call this 4K2. Let's see, are we doing everything right here? Error, no objects selected. I guess I didn't have it selected for some reason. All right, we're going to that. LP baked 4K. Let's call this 4K2 still. Originally, okay, bake that. Go back here. Wait for this to pop up. Okay, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to actually, I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to go back to this guy here. And now that I've got those, now that I've got the UV, I'm going to select everything, UV, unwrap. All right, so if I highlight this again, you can see I've got like couple UV maps going on, and we'll see what the result of this actually is. Go back to layout. You can see it's jacked up our deal here, but it doesn't really matter. We'll turn this on. We'll go 2 million. Okay, so I've got 2 million selected. 2 million is going to go to this LP baked. We're going to use a cage, 4K. We'll call this number 3, and we'll bake this again. And we're using restore originally active UV map. All right, so here's our 4K3. You can see it's a lot less maps going on here. I've got a new model. I'm going to turn this off. So we've got a new baked model here. I'm going to go into shading, select this guy, and make a new material. And I'll do Control Shift T and use the node wrangler. Go to wherever it is, Blender, Simple Bakes, and we did this 3 here. All right, what is going on? That's going there. Let's see. I'll tell you what, instead of applying it, I'm just gonna turn this off, go to this, back to this original one, and I'm gonna update the map to this PBR3. Open that, then we got our correct stuff on there. You can see, so we got some stuff we need to clean up here, but overall it looks like a cooler. So now we got that. I'm gonna do file, save. We'll save that file. Let's go. We're gonna delete all this stuff we're not using. So I'm gonna delete all these. Move this guy into the collection. So we've got the LP baked. I'm gonna go to orphan data, purge all this junk out. So now it's a cleaner file. Look at that. We'll do file save again. This time we're going to do file export FBX. I'm going to put it in the Blender folder, and I'm going to call it cooler for substance. Do selected object, mesh, export FBX. Alright, so we got that. We're going to close this, save, and I'm going to delete the ones we're not using here. We got that one. We're going to go to Substance Painter. Alright, so we'll close this. We'll do File, New. We'll go Select, and we'll go to Desktop, Cooler, and Blender for Substance, FBX. Open that. Then I'm going to add the Simple Bake texture at the same time. Change this to 4K image. We'll do PBR. Say OK. So we've got a cooler in here. We're going to go and add a fill layer. Then we're going to go to projects, take this image and drag it into base color. And then we're going to turn the roughness up a lot. And I hate the navigation inside of this, but it is what it is. So you can see it's got some issues, I guess. All in all, it's okay. But let's see, we want to go and clean up some of this stuff right here. So we'll create a new, I'm going to say a new paint layer, and then I'll change this from normal to pass through. And I'm going to go over here to our rubber stamp tool, and you press V, which is different than any other Photoshop program, and you just kind of click and paint around until you can hit Control and right click and go up and down. This changes your fan. Left and right will change your scale of that thing. V, and just kind of like paste around. We'll do V and kind of clean some of this up here, I guess, like that. Let's see what else we got. We got this problems down in here. We'll do V and just kind of clean up some of this stuff. Just get rid of all this junk that's down here. You can see I've got like a deal here where, yeah, there we go. I don't know, it's not that great. It's didn't like my, it's not cleaning up that well between the seam, my seam that I made. I can take some of this and clean it up. It's hard to get too crazy with it. I'm not going to see the bottom of this thing, so I'm just going to kind of like smooth it out. This is real bad back here. Let's see. This is probably like the most time consuming part of a lot of this stuff. It's just cleaning this up. And not everything has to be perfect. It's my philosophy anyway. How much of it are you going to actually see if it's in a rendering or an animation? You know, unless the character is like interacting with it directly, it's probably not that big of a deal if it's just something in the background. It can just be adding some ambiance to the scene. All right. Let's see, I'm gonna do the same thing to this other side just in case. We'll go lighting material. All right, so we got pretty much done here. Let's see. I may want to just take this and clean it up just a little bit. All right. So that's our cooler. So we will go to File, save this. I'm gonna go to Substance, save that file, and then go to File, Export Textures, and change where this is exporting out to. We'll go to Cooler, Substance, select that folder. And I'm going to change template to Sketchfab and do 4K. I'll do export. Let that go through its process. And then I usually just skip this step, cancel that, and you're done. Close that, save. Okay, so if you go back out to Cooler and then Substance, you'll see you've got a model file here. We'll do 1zip, extract to folder, and then we've got our model DAE with the associated textures there. So we'll go back to Blender. We'll open up our Cooler. So we got this. We're going to layout. We'll do File, Import, DAE. We'll go to Substance, Model, DAE, and Import. And there it is right there, all huge. So we'll select this and we'll go to scale and 0.01, and it puts right back on top of that. So I just like to turn this guy off. We've got this, we go to shading, and if you've got Control Shift T with the node wrangler, we'll go to plugin, we'll go to this model textures, and we'll select all 4 of these guys, apply them, and there we've got our cooler model, little igloo cooler. So we'll go to layout, and we want to say apply all transforms, and then I'm just going to start putting this into different views here and rotate and move it. We'll go to 1, we'll go to 3. We're going to rotate this. We'll go move it up here. We'll go back to 1. Looks fairly level. We'll go 3 and 2. So we've got our cooler sitting here. Now that we've got this, we go back up to Object, Apply, All Transforms. That'll move the center point to this center of the origin. And we'll do File, Save. We'll take this and we'll do File. Let's see, first we want to take this and delete this out, the old one. Then we'll just call this cooler. And then we'll go to orphan data, purge all this extra junk out, and we'll go to view layer. We got our cooler here. We've done our object, apply all transforms, and then we'll do file, save as, go back out to my template, put in Sketchfab, go to Sketchfab, Blender, and we'll just call this cooler. We'll save that. And then we'll go File, Export, FBX, and inside that we'll put an FBX file here, selected objects, and mesh. And then we'll do File, Export, OBJ. I like all the different formats. Selected only, export. And then I like to go to where's the substance, and I'll go to my model, grab all the textures, and we'll copy these, and then we'll go to Sketchfab here, and I'll put them, paste them there, and I'll also paste them independently out here in our texture folder there. So I've got all those, and now I've got a 3D model of a cooler that we can use in maybe a campsite rendering, or who knows. Looks pretty good though. So thanks for watching. Hope you found this video useful, and go check out the model on Sketchfab. I'll have a link down below.